What's up, everybody? Dex here. We're coming back with another episode of the Suburban Paranormal Podcast. Hope you guys are all having a good week. I know I'm a couple days late here. I was a little under the weather there for a bit. This time of the year, I don't know how many people like myself, just this time of the year comes around and more susceptible to getting sick. But anyway, only a couple days late. It is the Christmas week, so I do hope you guys are all ready to have a good holiday. I know I just spent about $70 in stocking stuffers for my kids from the dollar store. My wife says I'm crazy, but hey, guess what? We had a decent year, even though things are going bad. So the kids are gonna get a good Christmas. Anyway, guys, don't forget Cinescape Media. That's who we're brought to you by. Everything's hosted on there. Go check us out. Bunch of other shows. But let's go ahead. Let's get right into this. There's a bunch of news going on. So yeah, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and, we'll jump over here. And all right. So not that tab. So first thing we got, so mystery signals are picked up from Proxima. Of course, unexplained mysteries is where I find a lot of this stuff, but I've seen this on a lot of other websites. And I'm kind of interested because I believe we talked about it in a previous podcast where before they've said there's all sorts of possible intelligent life forms out there, but then it's like another article comes out and says, no, there's no such thing, but, take it as you will. But what's interesting, I read this, like I said, on a few different sites. It is from last year, but it is being investigated a lot more. It appears to have come out from the nearest star in the system. I don't think, this isn't, there's some more information in one of the other articles, but this is a good article. It's not the same one. I know we talked about another one or two different signals that were coming from outer space. There seems to be more signals that are out there that we're picking up. They seem to be repeating. They are saying, as you can see right here, though, this signal right here, what they were saying is really interesting about it. This one, it's shifting frequencies that's consistent with a planet moving. You can see that in this article. And like I said, if you look up if you search Proxima Centauri, you'll find it. I think I'm saying that right. But you'll find some more articles about this. And I'm curious about what you guys think. Is this further proof to be used at the existence of aliens? And if so, how many of you guys have used this since this article came out? It is I think it's about a week old now that this came out. No, this one came out 2 days ago. But like I said, I think this has been out for a little bit. This website just happens to have the article now. But it's interesting. I like the fact that there is more signals being found. And what's interesting, like they said with this one, compared to the WOW signal, if you don't know what the WOW signal is, look it up. Maybe we'll do a little piece on it in a week or two. We'll add that to something. I'll make a note of that. But the existence of more signals, to me, goes to show that our technology, I think, is getting to a point where we should be able to pick out more of these. And I'm hoping that more and more people are realizing we're not alone. We've all been saying this. And what I'm curious to think is what you guys out there, if you were to show this, the WOW signal, and maybe some of the other ones that are not as big, but like I said, this one, it's interesting in the fact that it's shifting and things like that. If you've shown this to friends or family that are skeptics, what is their response? I can understand when you have one, it's an anomaly or it's a fluke or, they can say it's one thing or another. And I get that when it's a one-time occurrence. But now that we're getting more and more, I'm curious if anybody has had people change their mind or if they further think that people are just going crazy and they're making things up just to make things up. People say that kind of stuff all the time. Personally, for me, I've had actually a couple people where before, when I first was friends with them, they weren't really big into it. They always thought that was a little weird part of me that wasn't talked about often. But now when I see some people, they'll talk and they'll be like, so I'm sure you saw the article on this. And it's like, of course I saw that article. But it's interesting to me that I think a lot more people, being maybe stuck at home more or whatever due to the pandemic, I think a lot of people maybe are starting to look further and look deeper into it. And I think that's a good thing. And I think we need that. So I'm curious how many people have used this article recently as further proof of possible alien life forms and what kind of feedback you got. Really interested in that. Put it up on Facebook, put it on Twitter. Out of the moment, I'm still banned on Facebook, but hopefully that comes back soon. I do got to stop maybe saying some things online, but I'm not one to really back down from things. Anyway, that's the first news article. Second news article we got here. This I found interesting, and I'm wondering if this is also another thing of people. When you limit people to what they can do, people are always going to find things to occupy themselves. So, to see this makes complete sense to me. The fact that 283% boost in sightings of UFOs is crazy. I think we even talked about this recently. I forget what episode we talked about this, but I know in just my state alone, Pennsylvania, and we're right by New York. Pennsylvania sightings, there was like 300, I think, by June. I don't know. There wasn't a percentage of how much more than previous years, but there is. I mean, and what's the 283% increase is kind of funny, but it's 46 UFO sightings in the past 12 months. That's a pretty decent amount to be. Oh, excuse me. That's a pretty decent amount. One of the other things, too, that I think is interesting, and maybe this is just my opinion here, but with New Yorkers seeing the UFOs, you got to think, especially with New York and New York City alone, the amount of light pollution, or, if you want to call it that, or the amount of just buildings that are lit up at night, like there's not really dark areas for you to just look up in the sky. So to have this many people seeing them is pretty interesting. And again, here's more evidence of something's going on. Nobody's giving us an answer, but we all know. And I'm curious, like I said, how many of your guys' friends have gone from saying, you're crazy, this is nothing, and are now starting to maybe further believe in what you're saying. And what's funny is, like I said, if you read some of these comments, people are saying, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I'm not a UFO conspiracy theorist, but there's this. The only other thing, and it is mentioned here, is the Elon Musk Starling satellites. They've put up a ton of those. And as cool as it is, I do worry. I mean, we're talking very small satellites compared to the vastness of space. But with the amount of them that are up there, the way they're catching the light, I can see some people saying it. But at the same time, you're not going to see. I don't know how I want to word this. When people report UFOs, they see multiple blinking lights. They see big, possible, triangles or different things along those lines that those Starling satellites don't look at that. I'll admit it. Not only being, excuse me, not only being a big person about aliens and UFOs and things along those lines, I've always been into space itself, space exploration, things like that. And, that's kind of, you could say it maybe even led me to, well, what's up there? You know what I mean? It could be kind of, like I said, how it started. But in that same sense, I've watched all those rocket launches. I watch them all the time with my kids. I put them on YouTube on the 4K TV out in the living room, and we watched every one of them. And my son loves them. I mean, he's 1 year old, and he's loving watching these, things go off into space. So I've seen those videos, and I've seen those satellites, and I can see in some instances, yes, but that many reports, there's no way that's all Elon Musk. I think an area like this, seeing that much more is hopefully, like I said, I don't know if we're building up to some kind of big, I don't know why I'm talking with a pen in my hand, sorry. I don't know if we're leading up to some sort of big event. People have mentioned it. I don't want to see people using it as a scare tactic or anything along those lines, but I'm interested in the increased amount of activity lately, especially what's being reported. But the other thing is too that I'd like to, like I said, I like involving you guys. I like getting conversations started. I'd like to see hopefully some more interaction on social medias, but I do get, people messaging me directly, and I understand that. So to those that do message me directly, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I understand the aspect of some people don't want to have their names out there asking these kinds of questions because they don't want people to see them in a certain way. And I get it. That's fine. But the other flip side too, are we leading up to a big event with all of these sightings? Or is it the activity itself hasn't changed, but just the observation has changed due to what we're going through in the country? Because that's very well another possible explanation as to why a lot more people are seeing and reporting things and stuff like that. So I'd love to get your guys' take on that. I do personally think that it's a combination of both. I don't know if we're leading up to a certain big event, but I do think a more direct contact is imminent, possibly soon. But I do think that the activity itself might not have really gone up as much as we think, and it's more of just the observation because of the amount of people that are home. So that's it on this one. The next part here, this thing, apparently this, as you can see in the article, was captured back in 1998. And for a while, it seems people thought this was some kind of alien satellite. I know people have said that it's space debris, but if you're going to call it space debris, tell me what it's from. I've only seen this picture personally a couple times. I wish there was another one, but this thing apparently has been floating around for a while. And like I said, I mean, you can read the article back in 1960, but looking at it, I mean, I don't know what to make of this picture. And I'm curious, just because I guess the way it's, kind of up and down vertical, and the shape of it. The shape, like, you can almost say this looks like somebody in a jet suit. It's just like the person's head, and I mean, maybe not, but as far as it being an alien satellite, I don't know. Now, obviously, an alien satellite is probably not going to follow the condition, or the traditional means of what we would think of a satellite, and how ours are always round, or kind of, what's that, like concave, like rectangle, something along those lines that you would normally see from us. The different angles and the different ways that this thing is moving, or well, not moving, I should say. It's definitely interesting. I don't know if I want to even form an opinion on this one. It's interesting that it's been around for so long, for sure. So it definitely is worth bringing up and talking about. And I'm curious if there's anybody that's seen this particular one, or if they've seen anything else particular to these sightings. And if you have an opinion on it, again, I'd be glad to talk to anybody that has some kind of opinions. Suburban Paranormal at gmail.com. As always, that mail is checked every day. If you have your own picture of this from looking through a telescope, I'd love to see it. And hopefully we can maybe, get to the bottom of this ourselves. It's definitely a cool one, but again, I haven't seen too much about it. There's, like I said, there seems to be a lot about it, but I don't want to form too much of an opinion on this guy just yet. So that's what I have for the news. There was really not any kind of ghost stuff in the news. No new hauntings or anything like that, unfortunately. So don't got anything about that, and there really wasn't anything cryptozoology wise. The one thing I did see was there was some kind of we've talked about it before. Nessie's had a pretty big year with things going on, and then there was unforeseen footage of it, or there was unseen footage of some kind of cub, and it's just not really that interesting. So we're not really not gonna mention it too much here. So that's what I got for the news. We'll go ahead here and bring it to the next thing. And as you know, after the news, what do? We always do the paranormal dad joke. And I know last week we did the paranormal dad joke. Oh, sorry, not last week. 2 weeks ago. Last episode. We did the paranormal dad joke for my daughter. And she did have another one for us here. So, the joke is, what is a ghost's favorite street? A dead end. So yes, thank you, Lila, again for another wonderful dad joke for the podcast. Hopefully, maybe she'll have some more for us. I don't know. She hasn't had a new one for me in a couple days. Don't know what's going on, but thank you again, Lila, for our wonderful dad joke for this podcast, back to back. So, moving along. All right, everybody. Wonderful dad joke. Let's go ahead. Let's jump right into the TV news. First thing we got in TV news is we will be having another TV show, new TV show here. And no, it's not on the Travel Channel. This one's actually going to be on the History Channel. The difference, so with this, History Channel's telling of Roswell is actually going to come from the perspective of Major Jesse Marcel's grandchildren. Now, if you don't know who Jesse Marcel is, he is the major that Wilcox had spoke to come examine the debris himself. So when Marcel died, a while back, his grandchildren, John, Jesse Marcel III, and Denise Marcel, are coming forward to tell their side of the story. Apparently, it's going to be a 3-part documentary series. It's going to be entitled Roswell, the First Witness. And apparently, the trio is going to be investigating their grandfather's experiences at the time of the incidents from his diary. They have his diary, and I guess they've read it, and just from knowing their grandfather, they're going to be coming out and speaking about it. So, hopefully this will be a pretty good series. Now, it did already start. It started on December 12th. You guys are getting this on the 21st. So, the first episode's come out. I haven't seen it just yet. I kind of wanted to... I wanted to hold off because I didn't want to give anything away talking about the show first before I go watch it. So, once the series is over, we'll go ahead and talk about it. I'm interested to see what it is. I just hope... I mean... Sometimes when you do a telling of a story from someone else's kids, it's kind of interesting. Sometimes it doesn't always work, I think, in my opinion. But, I mean, hopefully it does. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, so that's another TV show to look forward to. Speaking of shows to look forward to, it's almost the end of the year. Hopefully we're almost done all this nonsense that's happening in the world here. But what we can rest assured is our shows are all coming back. So, for those of you that haven't seen, so far from what I've seen coming out, we have on Travel Channel, starting up first on January 2nd at 9 o'clock, Dead Files. New season starts of that. We're on, I think it's season 13 is coming up. I could be wrong on that, but I think we're on season 13 now. So that starts at 9 o'clock, and then after that, we have a double episodes. I believe it's 2 new episodes of Kindred Spirits. They're going from 10 to 11 that night. Now, I believe they're both brand new episodes. I know the one at 10 o'clock is, but I can't confirm 11. I know it's listed as new, but if you know TV stations, they like to mess around with stuff, so hopefully it's a new one. But so then we got 2 shows, which is good. And then Ghost Nation returns, and that first new one that I can see listed is going to be January 9th, 2021. And if I'm not mistaken, I almost want to say there was a glitch, and the episode 12 that's not supposed to come out till January 9th got released to a couple people. Because I want to say I seen it mentioned, and a few people were kind of like, where did you see that? Because that didn't sound right. Not sure really what happened with that. I kind of saw it in a quick glance on social media, but then not much of that afterwards. So, anyway, officially that's back January 19th. So, looking forward to that. Or, I'm sorry, January 9th, not the 19th. So, really, really looking forward to that. So that's what I got for the news there, guys. All our shows are coming back, and we're getting a new one, which is great. They're also... I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. Jason has a new one that came out too, and I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews on it. I didn't get a chance to catch that one either. With the holidays, I'm sure a lot of you guys as well. It's crazy. It's busy. I got 3 kids that I'm preparing a Christmas for. That I'm really looking forward to, because we were able to do a lot of nice things. I was able to get my wife some presents this year. So, really looking forward to Christmas this year. It's been a hell of a year, so I'm looking forward to doing a lot of stuff. So, anyway, as always, guys, I don't have a discussion topic except this. I hope that as this end of the year draws, I know a lot of people have gone through some rough times, and I know some people have been able to do okay. I just hope that every one of you guys has a great holiday, whether you're celebrating any one of them. I celebrate Christmas myself. I'll say happy holidays, and I'll say Merry Christmas. I'm not offending anybody by saying my holiday, and I don't feel offended if you want to say Happy Hanukkah or Merry Kwanzaa, whatever you guys celebrate, do yourselves. And I just really hope that starting in this new year, things can calm down. we can get to the show. The Suburban Paranormal was supposed to be a web series, and we were going to record some little clips around with Bill and Sean. And unfortunately, it pushed me into this podcast instead. But I've been enjoying the podcast. I've been enjoying a lot of people that have messaged me, and I look forward to hopefully many more conversations with a lot of you guys. And recently, our viewer count has gone up a lot, and I just again. I know I said it last stream, and I'll say it all the time, is, I'm greatly humbled by all the people that want to tune in and listen or interact with me in any kind of way. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for all listening. Thank you for tuning in. If you're just listening on the podcast, if you could go drop us a like or a subscribe on YouTube. Again, all these shows are on YouTube. I share the pictures or video evidence or whatever I can that we're discussing. Those are shared on YouTube so you guys can see as well. So if you could give us a subscribe, tell your friends if you could, I'd greatly appreciate it. Social medias, as always, you'll see them pop up down here on the bottom. Subscribe button up top. Again, happy holidays, and I will see you guys in the new year.